The following program portrays explicit contact with the unsavory. If you suffer from sitting on a high horse, this show might not be right for you. Check with your local air traffic controller.
Standing for truth in the four corners of America. Fighting for justice on the frontiers of the culture wars. And turning resistance into an art form. Men enough to walk his cat. Randall Terry.
It's a special edition of Randall Terry, broadcast to you from a prison. I'm good, Mr. Guard. Just be a couple minutes here. Is it okay? My attorney cleared it with you. It's good? It's good? Okay. In today's program, we're going to look at Harry Reid. He says that it's not the policies of Obama that have hurt everyone, it's the messaging. And Missy Smith, 2010, continuing to show the ads in Washington, D.C., she's also showing us who's with us and who's against us. And we're going to talk about the Personhood amendments. You are going to be shocked at the exciting efforts that these people are putting into restoring the protection of law to little babies in the womb, and you'll also be heartbroken at who is betraying the babies. Today's program brought to you in part by the United States Conference of Catholic Bishops, putting the Jello in the pillar, and by the Susan B. Anthony list. They took her name, but not her tactics. I'm going to take a quick break and give my good friend, my new friend, Jihad Granny, a chance to give it up.
Allah Akbar! Welcome, boys and girls. Today we talk about my hero, Iranian President Ahmadinejad. You know what he said? He said September 11th, the United States is using as excuse to colonize the world. And that is bad. Remember what Quran say. Cursed be the mischief makers. Good to see you.
Welcome to the program, friend. In related stories, Harry Reid was recently interviewed, and he said that it's not the policies of the Obama administration that have hurt them, but rather the messaging. Oh, messaging? What message do they want, pray tell? We're really not sure. And to make matters even a little bit worse, when a bunch of Democratic candidates and leaders from around the country met with President Obama, the communications director said to them, hey guys, if you've got any advice for us and for the president on messaging, tell him when you're in there. Oh, sounds like desperation to me for messaging. Well, as a true American who honors my president, I'm going to give some one-liners for Harry and for Obama and for the communications director. Let's try them on for size. You guys ready? Everyone ready? If you have any, just go ahead and send them in to me. Okay, here we go. Listen, it's not slavery, it's independence. Okay, that stunk. All right, let's try this one. Ready? They might feel like shackles, but they're really security. How about this one? There might be bars on the window, but there's food in the plate. Yeah. All right, how about this one? Security is better than freedom. Don't bite the hand that feeds you. Or how about Samuel Adams? Oh, Samuel Adams? Yes, Samuel Adams, who said, may you lick the boots and lick the hands that feed you, and may history forget that you were our countrymen. All kidding aside with my bad jokes, at the end of the day, what they're saying to us is we have to figure out a way to sell socialism better. Socialism good, freedom bad. Socialism make one happy, freedom make one worried. Why be a worried free man when you can be a content slave? See, that's the real issue, is that they haven't figured out a way to sell us slavery in terms of security in a way that we'll buy it. But you want to know something scary? A lot of people do buy it. They do. That's why they vote for these losers. That's why they vote for these slave traders. How about this one? We're not slave traders. We're gods among you. How about this one? The Savior was born in Hawaii. I mean Kenya. We don't know where Obama was born. Anyway, if you and I are going to be a part of a free nation, we have to be willing to embrace the cost and the risk of freedom. Let's assume for a minute that you landed here in America. You came from a European country and you landed sometime in the 1600s or the 1700s and even early 1800s, and you were a part of a group of people that just went west, where you staked out land, 100 acres, 1,000 acres, whatever it was. Do you really think that at that moment, your mission, your vision, your hope, your prayer would have been for Social Security from the government? Or for government health care? Or for government education for your children? Or for a small business administration loan for your new small farm? Or if you were a farmer, that you were going to say, hey, we need those bennies from the farm administration. We need them to underwrite our crops so that if our crops fail, they give us money, and we need them to give us money to not grow crops like our government currently does. You really think that that's what people were doing back then, and that's what you would have been doing back then? I don't think so. I think that your mission and your vision and your agenda would have been, I just want to live my life, serve God as I understand Him, raise my family, and prepare for the next life. I mean, really and truly. People didn't risk crossing the ocean or risk crossing the Alleghenies or risk crossing the Mississippi and risk crossing the Colorado Rocky Mountains so that they could have government benefits. They did it so that they could have freedom. Freedom. Life, liberty, and property. It's that simple. And the truth of the matter is this: if you're prepared to give up life, liberty, and property to the government, you become a slave. Harry Reid is right. It's not the administration's policies that have messed them up with a lot of people. It's they didn't message it better. No. It's slavery that's inherently evil. But as I've said so many times on this show, and I'll say it again right now, and then I'm going to take a break, and we've got some big stuff coming up. Until we Tea Party people, hey, Glenn Beck, are you listening to me? Glenn? Until we are ready to say, we have to say goodbye to Medicare, Medicaid, and Social Security. Until we are prepared to say that each one of them must go, then we're socialists. We're just quibbling over the price, as the joke goes. I'll be right back. We're going to talk about the Susan B. Anthony list, Missy Smith's run for Congress, and these awesome people with the Personhood Amendment movement. You're going to be happy, you're going to be sad, and hopefully you will be inspired. I'll be right back.
It's about time that drunk drivers are taken off the road. They're a real menace to those of us who text while we drive.
Moments with Moses. Cursed shall you be when you come in, and cursed shall you be when you go out.
Welcome back to the program, friend. It is I, your servant, Randall. Missy Smith, 2010. You see the website right there on your screen. I encourage you to go ahead and take a look at her campaign. As of right now, she has raised over $30,000 and run the incredibly hard-hitting ads that you can see at her website on every major network in Washington, D.C. Yeah. Saturday Night Live, Oprah, Jay Leno, David Letterman, every single news network in D.C. is airing the ads at her website which show healthy unborn babies and aborted, dead babies in our nation's capital.
Bring it.
It's the first time in 38 years of the killing by abortion that the truth has been seen in Washington, D.C. It is literally historic. Now, I'm helping Missy. I love her. I think she's a great person, and I count her as a friend. And I've been encouraging pro-life groups, pro-life leaders to put their money where their mouth is. There's a lot of people flapping their jaw about how they're pro-life. And then when Missy brings an opportunity to show, unedited, without censorship, the truth about what is happening with these precious babies, what do most of the pro-lifers do? They run the other way. Now you listen to me, sir, madam. For those of you who believe it's your right to kill your baby, I'll deal with you another time. But for those of you who believe that these precious infants deserve the protection of law, the right to life that God gave them, if you're giving your money to a pro-life group, you better start your due diligence. You better start finding out if that group is worth its weight in salt or spit, for that matter. Because a lot of these groups are raising money saying, send us money so we can fight in the 2010 elections. And then guess what? They don't fight. It's a fundraising scam. I'm going to start something. That's it. Guys, we are going to start something that says the Good Housekeeping Randall Terry seal of approval. Yeah, that's what we're going to do. Because I can tell you who's spending money where and who's doing what they say. Catholics United for Life, Americans United for Life, National Right to Life Committee. Most of these groups are useless. And by the way, Americans United for Life is pretty useless. National Right to Life is totally useless. Catholics United for Life, I have to do my homework, I can't remember. But there's one group right now that I want to focus on with specific grief in my heart. And that is the Susan B. Anthony list. Susan B. Anthony. What a great heroine she was. What a courageous activist, getting arrested for voting illegally. She was fierce. She was intense. She fought for the truth. She raised a ruckus. She made a fuss. Well, the ladies at the Susan B. Anthony list are simply not rising to the occasion and helping Missy. Susan, they stole your name, but they're not using your tactics. Susan B. Anthony, they have your name, but not your courage. Susan, do you hear me? Pray for these poor lost souls. They're squandering the assets that they've raised by using your name. All right. Here's the bottom line. The Susan B. Anthony list says that they support pro-life candidates, and they won't even throw Missy Smith $500. They won't even endorse her. This is obscene. This is hypocrisy. This is manipulating people to give them money, and then in the one historic moment when the truth can be shown in our nation's capital, they refuse to help Missy Smith. God forgive us. God save us all. You might want to call up the Susan B. Anthony list. Their phone number is on your screen right there. Give them a call and say, hey, you going to support Missy Smith or not? What are you waiting for? Give them a call. Ask them. Please call them. When we come back, I'm going to talk to you about the Personhood Amendment, which is it's making incredible inroads in Florida and Colorado and other places. And of course, there are pro-life traitors, Judases, I'd like to call them, who are fighting against this incredible effort. I'll be right back. This is harder than it looks.
It is a fine thing to be honest, but it is also very important to be right. Sir Winston Churchill.
Hi, friend. Every once in a while, something emerges on the horizon that is worth literally giving your life for. As many waking minutes as you can, as many volunteer hours as you can, and maybe even your work time. One of those things is the Personhood Amendment. In a nutshell, what it is it's a movement that is growing in several states right now to change state constitutions to say that a human being from conception on, that would be all the way through 9 months of pregnancy and forward, that a person exists from conception. Not just a human being, which we all know, but a person. And as Dr. Seuss said, a person is a person, no matter how small. The point of the movement is to give the protection of law to unborn babies. So a law against assault would apply not just to a 1-year-old or a 6-month-old or a 60-year-old, but a baby in the womb. Laws against murder would apply not just to a 10-year-old or a 40-year-old, but to a 3-month-old in the womb. Because the laws are written to protect persons. Enough said on that. There are some really heroic efforts going on in Florida, in Alabama, in Colorado, and other states. You go to personhood.net. You see it on the screen there. You can look up these various activities and look at who's pushing for the agenda. But I want to bring you up to speed on a tragedy. And the reason that this is critical is because treachery is happening all around us. Our country is committing suicide on the installment plan. And it's often being led into the very jaws of death and hell itself by people who tell us that they're our friends and our heroes and that we should trust them. There are people right now that are fighting against personhood amendments, and they say that they're doing it because they're pro-life. I'm talking about Catholic bishops. I'm talking about pro-life groups. I'm talking about pro-life news outlets. When we come back, I'm going to quickly tell you the 4 reasons that they're wrong. They're wrong historically, they're wrong ethically, they're wrong politically, and they're wrong judicially. I'll give you a synopsis why. I'll encourage you to go to my website so you can read more if you're interested. I don't want to see this country die. And we're looking for warriors, people to join our war band who will fight with all their heart and soul to retrieve this nation from the jaws of hell. I'll be right back.
If the Lord had not been my help, my soul would soon have dwelt in the land of silence. When I thought, my foot slips, thy steadfast love, O Lord, held me up.
George Washington said, "It is impossible to rightly govern in this world without God and the Bible." As I told you in our last segment, there are people who are fighting against the Personhood Amendment and say that they're Christian pro-lifers. Let me tell you the reasons that they're wrong. Number 1, ethically they're wrong. Jesus said, do to others what you would have them do to you. If your life was hanging by a thread, you would want us to use every tool at our disposal, however remote the chance of victory, to save your life. So ethically they're wrong. Number 2, historically they're wrong. If you look at the great social revolutions of our country's past, they fought and fought and fought against all odds, and they screamed their lungs out against whatever injustice it was that they were fighting. The Personhood Amendment does this. And when you try and say no to the Personhood Amendment, you say, well, abortion might be bad, but it's really not that bad. Number 3, politically they're wrong. If you look at how political change comes, it comes precisely because people make a fuss. Then the laws change. And you don't even have to have a majority, Samuel Adams said.
Just a minority that sets brush fires in people's minds. And then finally, judicially, they're wrong. We don't know when Roe versus Wade will be overturned, but we know that we need as many cases in the pipeline as possible. Every single one of these personhood amendments says to the Supreme Court, you are tyrants that are taking away life and liberty. God bless you.